Air India CEO's big no crash error claim. Air India has said there was no mechanical maintenance error that was found. Air India is claiming and that there is a complete clean sheet that needs to be given to the Air India, to the aircraft with regard to the crash investigation. Now remember, initial crash probe appears to blame a mystery fuel cutoff. The probe, and I'm quoting from some of the key takeaways from that preliminary investigation, that fuel switch was cut 3 seconds after the takeoff. Is Air India then hinting at pilot error? AI CEO says all mandatory maintenance was done. Pilots cleared the medical tests as well. Dreamliner was fit for its check. Found okay. Do not draw premature conclusions. Amit Bhardwaj joins me for the latest on that. Amit, honestly, it appears to be a certain conclusion which is even more confusing, because who are they then pinning it on? And if it is on the pilots, many are objecting to it because these were experienced pilots.
Right, Pooja. We saw that FAA private AD that is being shared in the international media, to be very specific, signaling that there was no malfunction, possibly, a directive, airworthiness directive issued in regards to the fuel cutoff switches. And now you have, Air India CEO Campbell Wilson telling his own employees, India Today has accessed the details of that email that has been sent by Air India CEO Campbell Wilson in wake of the AAIB Air India 171 crash primary report that was released on July 12th. And in that particular email to his select employees, Campbell Wilson is saying that, look, the all mandatory checks were done on that Boeing 171. There was no mechanical issue reported or highlight or red flag in the AAIB report that which is in the public forum right now. Along with that, he's also saying that the AIB report does not mention anything compromised with the quality of the fuel. So these are, sort of clean sheet as far as the mechanical aspect is concerned, maintenance aspect is concerned, fuel aspect is concerned. Along with that, defending his own pilots, which is Captain Sabharwal as well as pilot Clyde Sundar. What we are given to understand that Campbell Wilson had said that both of them had gone through the mandatory checks that day, and their medical examinations were done properly as well, and it did not flag out anything wrong. In fact, Campbell Wilson is also saying that days after the AI-171 crash, the entire fleet of Boeing Dreamliner, that is 787, one of the craft which made that tragic accident on June 12th, the entire fleet had gone through an enhanced safety check, and the entire craft, that fleet, passed all the parameters. So clearly, in light of that FAA private AD, now what we have is that sort of Air India also trying to push forward their version, however, within their own internal communication, and also saying that, look, the pilots.
What is it, you tell me, Amit, that are key takeaways to the viewer watching right now from this investigation details that have come in?
Well, Pooja, we have the details in front of us. Yes, the entire focus is on that fuel cutoff switch. And there's no denial to it because AAIB has based its entire report on that fuel cutoff switch, was transitioned from run to cutoff immediately after takeoff. And we know for a matter of fact with the AAIB report notings itself that both Captain Sabharwal and pilot Clive Kunda, they had made their final attempts to revive the engine before the Mayday call, 13 seconds before the Mayday call. The attempt to transition back the switches from cutoff to run was already made. Engine 1 de-acceleration was arrested, but it was engine 2 which couldn't respond on time. And that tragic crash happened. And also we have to note that there was very little time left for the craft as well to relight itself and the pilots to take up the control in their hands again. But they did make their final attempts, revival attempts. And also the first impact was the trees which were right next to the complex of Ahmedabad airport. And after that, a chimney in the army establishment before the craft crashed on the BJ Medical College complex. But it is very important to note out here, Pooja, that instead of making insinuations that pilots were at mistake, right now the focus should be on the fact that yes, there is a fuel cutoff switch issue. Was that technical glitch of Boeing that needs to be investigated? If
Then
not,
why
whether
is
it
it, Amit,
happened
tell us that while these details have come in, that the pilot's body have asked to be a part of this investigation and have very categorically said not to just pin it on human error or the pilots?
Absolutely right, Pooja. The pilot associations are actually igged right now because the kind of insinuations that are being made, that too particularly in the international media houses, in regards to how this could be because of confusion between these pilots, or they were the ones at fault because look, the mechanism of Boeing Dreamliner was working fine. But as I was also, they want to become part of the investigation as observers. However, that remains to the IQA guidelines and rules whether they can be accommodated in this kind of investigation or not. I believe that there are very few chances of that to happen, because this kind of inclusion could also compromise the kind of investigation that's going on.
On with
However,
me
the
on the
domain experts
on
have, yes.
exactly the note that we are talking about. I have a big news coming in. This is from the pilot's body. They're not convinced, and they want to now go ahead and be a part of this investigation. The pilot's body have said there appears to be a smear campaign against their two senior experienced pilots. Cannot casually claim pilot suicide, is what the pilot's body have said. They've said that pilots pass through a fair share of screening, training. We undergo rigorous regimen as well. And this is, remember, many are asking, is it fair to simply pin it on a human error when there could be many other issues that could have cropped up in the aircraft itself or the coordination or checks of it? Amit Bhardwaj continues to be with us. Amit, tell me more about why the pilot's body are saying to not simply claim it as a pilot suicide, because it's the fuel switch that somehow has become the highlight of this investigation.
Pooja, when Indian Commercial Pilot Association is making that particular claim, they are not strong in saying that, because look, the AAIB report has not indicated at any manual error or the pilot error. In fact, they have not even made recommendations against Air India or Boeing company in this particular regard, or for that matter, the GE, which is the manufacturer of both the engines. And they did mention the parts from the CVR, and based on those communication, there have been certain sections, as I was also mentioning, within the international media houses, where it has been the insinuations have been made, and that is why the ICPA, for that matter, is egged, and they are saying that let's not make such insinuations. These were very experienced pilots. If you go by the logs that have been done for the day, whether they went through proper medical checks or not, they did. Whether they were fit to fly or not, they were. Whether they made final attempts to revive AI-171, even when the time was very limited, they did, and it's all noted in the log sheet as well as the AAIB report, which clearly indicates that at this point in time, the entire focus will be on three aspects.
Right,
just wait for our viewers right now, whether there was a technical glitch, whether it was a manual error, or some other equipment which led to that transition of cutoff switch from run position to cutoff, because we have seen that happen in the past as well. Other components, leading to such malfunction. So we'll have to wait for the AIB and NTSB to work together to, resolve that mystery.
So let's not make an insinuation that hasn't even been made in the report. Let's wait for further details on that, and perhaps in the steps to come, we'll know what exactly happened. Amit will be tracking all the latest on that. But this is the big news of the day over the weekend.